One of the many outside habits that I enjoy doing most of the time is jumping on my trampoline. Not because that I don't have to go anywhere, but because I just get to have some spare time away from my house. I get to appreciate the nature, look at the trees, look at the birds, look at the grass. I get to absorb the sunlight, and even when the sun comes out, it is a fantastic experience because the entire landscape gets painted in yellow. It is just absolutely amazing. And plus, when I'm in some kind of a motion, like I'm jumping, for example, I get to think my thoughts to its fullest extent. I don't know why it is like that, but it is one of the biggest life hacks for creativity for me. I've already came up with so many different ideas, not just for this YouTube channel for our clan and for its future, but also with like my creativity stories that I make in my own free time, like my own worlds and stuff like that, my own what if scenarios, anything. And so when in spring of this year, 2024, we went to our grandma's house because we had holidays and so we didn't have to go to school, but our parents still had to go to work. When we arrived at our grandma's house, I noticed something. She always had a trampoline in like her park, and there was none anymore. And she later told me that they had to sell it because it got broken down very badly. And by that point, the trampoline had been there for like 3.5 years. So I just said, hmm, whatever. I got this in the back. Yo, grandma, I'm gonna go for a walk. And so, at around 9 a.m., I just grabbed my shoes, grabbed my mobile phone, grabbed my watch that would count my steps, and I would also grab my hoodie that I was wearing at that time. And so, I just went into the field roads. I'm lucky enough that my village is located really near some really awesome nature where I go cycling from time to time, and this time it was no exception. I went out, and oh boy, the nature was ever so beautiful, even though it was like March, and so the leaves haven't fully recovered from fall, but it was still pretty nice. It was a little bit muddy, but who cared? I just was on a walk, so I just went my own way. I even saw some deer whilst I was walking, so that was a huge benefit that I saw in it also. Like seeing some kind of different animal apart from dogs and cats and birds also. How often do you see just deer walking around? Yeah, and there were like 15 of them, so it was a pretty nice experience. And during this entire walk, as I was walking, hmm, I wasn't walking aimlessly, I was walking with a sense of purpose, but I was having a lot of fun. And during that time, I was still in motion, like I already said, like how I do it on my trampoline. I was still gaining steps. So I was thinking about all the different ideas that I could use for my future clan. Because Timeless Readers, it started in May of this year. So this was like full on 2.5 months before this channel even started. So I was planning heavily before I even uploaded our first video. And just so you know, that I wasn't just walking aimlessly. You see, like 3 days prior, when it was like February, the end of February, I was getting really tired of winter and I finally wanted to go out cycling because, of course, it was muddy everywhere, it was cold everywhere. I didn't even had access to our garage, so I couldn't grab my bicycle and just ride away. And when my dad finally made it home after like 3 hours of waiting for him, I grabbed my bicycle and I stormed the fuck off. And I went on the best cycling ride that I had by that point, because I haven't been on one for like 3 months by that point, so I greatly appreciated it. But when I got to like the midway point, I was muddy as fuck. Because it was still the end of February and the temperatures weren't really that balanced, and so yeah. And so what I did was I just rode off to like a different part of the road and I grabbed this like stick and I started punching the wheels so that the mud would come off. And it worked actually. Not to the best extent, but at the end, I would say that like 50% of the mud was gone after like 10 minutes of trying, so I didn't fail completely. And this area where I used the stick, it was like 30 minutes away from my grandma's house. So I just went there, and guess what? The stick was still there, even after like 3 days. And so it was still like 9:30 a.m. I still had a lot of time before noon, where I would have to eat dinner at like 12 a.m. So I could do anything that I wanted for like the next 2.5 hours. So I decided to walk 3 kilometers to my house that was located far away. And so I just booked it, and guess what? In like an hour and a half, I was fucking there at my house. Haha. Bro, it was one of the longest walks that I ever took in my entire life. But it was fucking worth it. Because on that day, I realized just how small my village was. I had always thought that it was some kind of mega village, like it was just endless. But on that day, I truly realized just how small it was and how fast you can walk through it in just a short amount of time. Like it barely even took me 10 thoughts to get to my house. And I still made it back to my grandma's house. Well, it was like 11:45, so I perfectly calculated it, and I had one of the most sufficient and one of the most nutrient-filled dinners of all time. And if you're wondering, I made probably like 10,000 steps just from that walk alone, because totally I think I walked like 10 kilometers probably. It wasn't like 3 kilometers to my house, I think it was like 5 probably. So yeah, I took my time and I thought everything through. And boy, I had a lot of fun. Because you see, my village is located in this like U shape. Basically, like when it rains, and especially on the hills that are next to our village, it the water, all of it, it comes flushing down towards us, and so great floods form immediately. It is basically located between two big hills, so in like this lower lands. And this walk was perfectly designed to take me on top of one of these hills. And boy, when you're on top of that, and you can see literally like 6 kilometers, no, 12 fucking kilometers ahead of you into like the local city that when you were like 6 years old, you thought that it was like infinitely long away or infinitely far away from your house, just gets to show how small this world actually is. And just like the amount of great thoughts that I was getting on that walk when I was on top of that hill and looking over my horizons, I I could literally see so far away. It was so eye-opening. I literally saw like 10 churches in total. So like in my village there are two churches. There were also other small village churches, but the churches in that local city, there are like 12 of them, so it was fucking huge. Like the realizations that I was getting of that walk. Adventuring should never be neglected. It is one of the most important good habits that you should do. Whether it is just climbing a mountain, whether it is just walking into a forest, whether it is just exploring hills and like lowland areas, whether it is just walking on fields, whether it is just following your river in your local city, for example, whether it is something small as just climbing a tree and appreciating the view from the top of it, you're already adventuring. And that's exactly what you need. This is the superior habit for your mental health and for your physical health also, and for your creativity and for just so many other things. It is just completely amazing. Your horizons wouldn't be just expanded physically, but mentally also. When you're stuck at your home all day, I have this saying that goes, when you're inside and your view is short, then you will also get short thoughts, meaning that you won't even focus on them that much and they won't be that deep. But once you actually get yourself out there and you look over the country and you can literally see like 10 kilometers ahead of yourself, you can literally see like the earth starting to curve slowly. You will get such deep thoughts that you will indulge in like there's no tomorrow. You will start thinking about such deep topics that you thought you weren't interested in them anymore. Like, for example, your authentic self, your authentic activities that you would do even if you were rich and never had to work a single day for the rest of your life. You will literally start to plan for your future family, even though you're supposed to think about that like decades down the line. But of course, the men that think like decades ahead of themselves, so like 10 years into the future, are the most successful men out there. So that's why adventuring is one of the most superior habits that anyone can do. So please, dedicate at least some time of your day to just walk into nature. And I know that many people won't have the option, but just please, at least consider this. It will truly help your mental health and your creativity. It will make you stronger mentally and physically also. It will enhance your productivity so fucking much that you literally won't even recognize yourself once you're up there and looking over the countryside. The thoughts that you'll be getting, oh boy, you just have to wait and see. And especially if you combine them with these kinds of primal missions, like how I brought that stick all the way from that place to my house, which was like 5 kilometers away, you'll get an awesome memory that you will cherish for the rest of your life. Adventuring is really something inevitable and something that you really have to do. Because, of course, our caveman ancestors, they weren't stuck in their caves all day. They were outside, hunting for the deer. Like, I think that if I was one of my ancestors from like tens of thousands of years ago, he would have been already making an arrow that he would be throwing on the deer instead of just recording them and having fun. If you want to join a community where we discuss our mental health and full of like minded men who share the same values as you, the same likes and dislikes, the same goals as you, who are becoming the best version of themselves every single day, and who will be in a state of healthy competition with you, but at the same time, they will give you knowledge on any kind of life situation that you're in right now, then you can join in our Discord clan in the description. I know that if you're watching videos like these and willing to take action, then I know that you have way more potential than you think you have. And we all know that you are destined for success. So stop being held back by your surroundings and join us on the path towards greatness. We will develop you into the best version of yourself. But besides that, you can like the video, you can subscribe if you like, join the email list in the description and get yourself a free ebook about mindfulness. Comment on which part of the video you liked the most and which part of the video you will implement in your daily life. Don't forget to join the clan, you're still invited, and become a part of the family. Remember, we absolutely adore men like you, so you have nothing to lose. If you want to learn about healthy mindsets that will guarantee you success in the short term and in the long term by fixing your mental health, then I highly suggest that you should go check out Timeless Readers Mindsets. It is truly something life changing. It will truly change the course of your life forever for the better. So there's nothing to lose. You would be a fool to miss out, honestly. And with that being said, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope it brought you a lot of value. And remember, no one is better at being you